Yo, what is going on, Shuffle Squad YouTube? I hope you all having a fantastic day. I'm Vulcan Turtle, and I'm going to be running you guys through something different. I'm no longer going to be covering the top 8 of the late nights. Instead, we decided that there's not a lot of content out there to try to bridge the gap between competitive and new players and give you guys some competitive information or teachings to get you guys into competitive play. Now, granted, these could be tips and tricks that could help you as a competitive player if you are one, but also help you understand these decks if you've never played them before, if you find yourself in this situation. So the decks that we're covering today are actually kind of interesting. It's going to be Lost Box versus Vikavolt. Now, this is a tale as old as time. The Vikavolt comes in, takes away your items, swings for Okos on Comfey, and just calls it a day. However, it's not always the case that Lost Box just loses. So let's just actually look at the lists real quick. Now, this is kind of a standard Lost Box list. You do have all your Comfeys, you have Zigzagoon, Raikou, Dragonite V. Now, there are many different ways to actually play Lost Box, but I decided to go with a version that is a little bit more popular lately. Raikou V has been seeing an increased play in Lost Box lists, and it's mainly because, yeah, Zero Aura seems to be great, but you do need a belt, and you also don't do very well against single prizers, so you need belts to knock out certain big V Pokemon, and against the single prize matchup, it's just a useless card, where Raikou V, yes, it is a 2-prizer, however, it still requires the same amount of energy cost and is a little bit bulkier and can attack single prizers quite easily. So Raikou V has been seeing a little bit of an increase of amount of play over the Zero Aura V, or the Zero Aura, the just basic Zero Aura. So this is the list I decided to bring for this. It is Dragonite, but it does have a lot of different options to it. Now, let's talk about the Vikavolt V. Vikavolt V, main strategy of this type of list is to get the Vikavolt V into paralyzing bolt position as fast as possible. So how do you do that? You use Greninja to throw away a water, try to find the Melanie either by using a quick ball to find Lumineon and then using the Melanie to attach that to Vikavolt and then attaching the electric energy to Vikavolt so you can just start paralyzing bolting, turn 1 going second, or you can just get there naturally if you go second, just come your next turn, or if you go first, you can get there pretty naturally by attaching, setting up, passing, getting another energy through cards like Energy Search, and just swinging from there. At the end of the day, your main goal is to set up Vikavolt and take knockouts while your opponent is locked out of items. So when it comes to the actual Lost Box matchup, it's not necessarily an auto loss. Here's what you can actually do. You can start with the Raikou V. I know it's not easy to always start with a 1-prizer or your 1-ofs. However, you do play quick balls, you do play VIP pass, you have a way to actually get Raikou out. And if you're going first, you're in a much better position as well because you can attach per turn onto Raikou and then just kind of set up all the Comfeys. You have a turn to play with your items, so get as close to 7 or 10 as you possibly can, so that way you can use Sableye later on as well. But with Raikou, attach, get yourself all set up, and by the time it's come to hit Vikavolt, you should be able to most likely get a knockout so long as they have a full bench. Now, you need a full bench, your opponent needs a full bench, and they also need to not have Cape of Toughness for you to actually get a knockout on Vikavolt V. It doesn't sound hard, but a good Vikavolt V player is going to see that coming from a mile away and kind of avoid setting up their entire bench. But if they do set up quite a bit, you can still Lightning Rondo for a decent amount, and they're not going to want to switch out of their Vikavolt because item locking the Lost Box deck is so good. Now, if they do choose to super Zap Cannon you, you have another turn with items to get closer to building up the Dragonite V, which is something that they might want to actually avoid. Now, the Raikou V is another way that they can get a knockout, but again, they don't want to lose out on that item lock. Now, Super Zap Cannon's good if they know that they can kind of put you in a terrible position, like using Judges or Marnies or anything else. However, if you have those Comfies to your disposal, you are able to just continuously put cards in the loss zone. And depending how far along you are, they may not want to do that. So Raikou might not actually be an option, but if it is benched, you can get a knockout with this if there's 9 Pokemon on the bench. So not too hard, 4 for your opponent, 5 for you. But again, a good Vikavolt player is going to see that coming from a mile away. Another great target that you can actually hit here is Lumineon V. With only 4 bench Pokemon, meaning your opponent doesn't really have to bench anything, you can boss out Lumineon, or if it's in the active already, just swing into it, get a knockout, 2 prizes, easy peasy. Same with the Mew, your opponent doesn't really have to do much, you just have to bench 2 Pokemon, swing, and you're good to go. Now, I know that this is going to take 2 turns of setup, but with Vikavolt only swinging 60 with Zapdos, you do have quite a few turns with Raikou V before they can get a knockout, and they're most likely not going to want to use that Super Zap Cannon. So it allows you a couple of turns to at least 2-hit KO Vikavolt V, try to get ahead in prizes, and get yourself a little bit more set up for the next Vikavolt V coming out. So what are some ways that you can actually get around this? So if this is the setup that we see, like I said, one single knockout here is all it's going to take, because you have a full bench, they have a full bench, you just get the knockout and Vikavolt goes away. However, let's say you do have the Raikou V all set up, they've swung into you, okay? They swung into you, you have the Raikou with all of its energies, you can start building up that Dragonite V, because if you're able to start putting all those energies on it quite early before they could boss it out, you're gonna be in a good position to knock out the next Vikavolt. Now, if they do put a Cape of Toughness on Vikavolt V, the benched one, or the next one that comes up, you are gonna miss the mark by 50, but at this point, you're still able to go ahead and Lightning Rondo and get a knockout. Now, remember, a good Vikavolt player is gonna see that coming from a mile away. They might not fill up their entire bench, but if they do, take advantage of it, start that Raikou V, because they don't have the damage output to really knock you out in one turn. Now, when it comes to Sableye setup, now, if you are late in game, let's say there's a couple prizes already gone, and they do have a few cards on the bench that are in target, one of the cards that you could target with Sableye is the Zapdos. Now, with Zapdos being gone, they're only swinging 50 damage, meaning that they can't use anything like Zigzagoon to get knockouts on Comfey, with the Zapdos also on the bench. Another thing that you could do is use Sableye. If they have 2 Mews on the bench, you can get a double knockout for 2 prizes as well. So just keep a look out for what your opponent has in play. But I honestly do believe that starting with the Raikou, getting an attached return, finding an electric energy is probably going to propel you ahead a little bit further than trying to go for any other setup. Now, Cramorant is a good attacker in this, but if they do have Cape of Toughness, they take that 2-hit knockout to a 3-hit knockout, which is something to be aware of. Now, talking about Vikavolt, Vikavolt actually has a really decent matchup here, because it can KO with a Zapdos on the bench, so just about anything. So like Cramorant, gone. Radiant Greninja, they do need a Zigzagoon, but that's not going to be too hard to get, considering that they're not item locked, so they can possibly just get the Oko, no problem there. Comfey, same thing, and Dragonite V could actually be a little bit of a problem. Now, we talked about how the Raikou is a little bit easier to actually set up because you only need 2 energy. However, Dragonite V does need 3, and if you put it down a little bit too early, they can actually boss this thing out, trap it, start hitting it a bunch, and then maybe get a knockout before you get the energy requirement. So one way that they can actually stall you from doing that is hitting you with cards like Judge and Marnie, and if you have the energy in hand, yeah, it's gone. So they can trap the Dragonite V quite easily, get a 2-prize knockout, and then anything else you put up from that point forward, besides maybe the Raikou, you can get a knockout on. So if you are the Vikavolt V player here, one of the easiest ways to get a knockout on Comfey is making sure you have Zapdos on the bench. Now, I understand that some of you that may be new to this are probably saying that it only swings 60. However, if we play a Zigzagoon, we get to ping the Comfey, and that puts it down to 60 HP, allowing us to Paralyzing Bolt and get rid of Comfey. This is going to force them to bring another Comfey up, or anything else on the bench, and if it is something like Cramorant, Greninja, this will work either way. You can hit them with a Scoop Up Net, pick up that Zigzagoon, put it back down, and ping the Comfey or any other target that's currently in play, and swing for a knockout. So that is how Vikavolt is going to keep you item locked, keep getting knockouts, and just turboing through the match. So that is something to be aware of. But if you are the Vikavolt V player here, this is as optimal gets. Now, let's talk about a different situation. Now, they have a Comfey in play here, and they also have a Dragonite V. This is another great way that you can actually start getting yourself into a position where you can kind of turbo through the prizes a little bit quicker, while also taking care of some of their actual attackers. You can hit them with a boss's orders here to bring Dragonite into the active, and from there you can item lock them with Paralyzing Bolt. So when you paralyze them with Paralyzing Bolt, they no longer have access to items, Mirage Gate is offline, and they have a 2-prizer kind of stuck in the active. You're going to be able to swing 60 here and increase that with Zigzagoon, just kind of turboing through the Dragonite before they even get any energy on. Now I do want to say you probably want to get that boss's orders on Dragonite before they even attach a single energy, because it is going to take around 4 turns to get a knockout on Dragonite V, so take that into consideration. Now, I understand this was quite the quick video, only about 10 minutes. However, I wanted to kind of just test the waters with this and see what you guys think. I plan to go into a much longer, more animated version of this, but I wanted your guys' opinion on it. And if you are new and want to test some of these strategies out yourself, check out late night events on limitless.com. You can head over there and play in free tournaments. Right now we're running these events so that way you can try to win a trip to Japan. So definitely go check it out, and if you bring any of these decks, let me know in the comments, did you guys try out any of these strategies? Did they work for you? And what do you guys want to see next? Thank you guys for watching. I always appreciate it, and until then, I'll see you next time.
The Shuffle Squad is proudly sponsored by Atlas Collectibles, the best place to buy any trading card game product online. Visit atlastcg.com, and at the checkout screen, make sure to use code TSS12 to save an unbeatable 12% off your entire order. Atlas Collectibles will ship your product anywhere in the world, so make sure you're taking advantage of the 12% savings with TSS12. And if Pokemon is not your thing, don't worry. Go to atlastcg.com and see all the other amazing trading card game products they have there to offer.
The Shuffle Squad is partnered with PTCGO Store to provide our community with the best access to Pokemon TCG codes. They have codes available 24/7, instant email delivery, and you can save 5% off by using code TSS5. If you're a YouTube member or Patreon supporter, you'll have access to a special code that gets you 10% off. So what are you waiting for? Use code TSS5 today and save 5% on your next order of codes on any codes available at ptcgostore.com.
Are you trying to be the best like no one ever was? Now is your time. Head on over to Metafy.gg and search out all our amazing Pokemon TCG coaches, where you can book all sorts of training plans ranging from deck help to full season sessions with your favorite coach. What a great way to up your game. Check out Metafy.gg in the description below and take your game to the next level. Challenge yourself against trainers from around the world to compete for the biggest online prizing yet.
Are you ready for an unbelievable tournament unlike anything else you've ever seen before? The Shuffle Squad is proud to announce our newest tournament series, the Late Night Events, with an amazing grand prize that's bound to have you excited.
Players can compete via play.limitless.tcg.com's online tournament platform every Tuesday to get a chance to earn weekly prizes. And every week, your placement in the tournament is tallied by points based on your best finishes to earn your rank for the Late Night Invitational events.
The series will be conducted starting February 7th of 2023 and carry all the way through to the Invitational on July 9th of 2023, where the top players will be rewarded the grand prizing.
And the grand prize is a signed jersey and photo op with the entire Shuffle Squad, as well as a fully paid trip to the Pokemon World Championships in Yokohama, Japan. This includes hotel and airfare, whether you're a player or a spectator.
Don't forget to check out all the live coverage on our YouTube and Twitch channel of the top cuts of these events for every week. And subscribe so you can get notified where to watch the Late Night Events Invitational, brought to you by the Shuffle Squad. Now get out there and start winning. We'll see you in Japan.